Watch out! Be careful! You may be in danger. But are you really? Do we even ask the question if something is safe before we consume it? Well, whether you have or not, we're about to answer that question about hydrogen water. Is hydrogen safe? If you have watched any of my videos, which of course I suggest that you do, check them out. We have some good ones. Then you know that when I say hydrogen, I'm referring to molecular hydrogen, which is also known as hydrogen gas or H2. And we aren't just talking about hydrogen water. We're talking about the hydrogen gas in the water as well as other administration methods. To be clear, I'm talking about the safety of ingesting hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas itself is flammable above 4%, but not when dissolved into water. We touch more on that in this video on the misconceptions of hydrogen water. So essentially what this video is about is the safety profile of hydrogen gas. A safety profile is the chemistry, pharmacology, therapeutic effects, and adverse effects of an administered drug or other substance. The safety profile for hydrogen gas is considerably high. And there are three main reasons why we know this. Number one is the data. So out of 700 scientific studies, H2 has shown no cytotoxic effects. Cytotoxic is just a fancy word for saying something is toxic to our cells. They have studied the effect of hydrogen on over 170 disease models, and they haven't found any negative effects? None. Let's look at this quote. We did not observe any unwanted side effects of H2, including headaches, diarrhea, or vomiting. Our data gives us a clue that H2 might have the potential to be used as a novel lipid regulating agent with the advantage of no toxicity compared with other commonly used lipid regulating drugs that have side effects on the liver and kidneys. Also, out of all these studies, H2 has not been found to produce any cytotoxic byproducts in the human body. An example of this is vitamin C. Vitamin C, also known as ascorbic acid, is a known antioxidant with many beneficial effects. However, once it donates its electrons, we are still left with the oxidized state of vitamin C. This is called dehydroascorbic acid, and what was once an antioxidant is now a pro-oxidant. Because of this, it can induce toxic effects if the concentrations are too high in the cell. To quote this study, ascorbic acid or vitamin C is a potent dietary antioxidant with a double-faced character, in that it exhibits a pro-oxidant activity arising from its routine antioxidant property that generates reactive free radicals, which induces cytotoxic effects at pharmacologic concentrations. Here's another interesting quote. In addition to growing evidence attained by modeled animal experiments, extensive clinical examinations were performed or underway. Since most drugs specifically act on their specific targets, H2 seems to differ from conventional pharmaceutical drugs, owing to its great efficacy and lack of adverse effects. H2 has potential for clinical applications for many diseases. Number two, we know that H2 is safe because it's native to our bodies. We have a basal level of H2 in our bloodstream at all times, around 1 to 5 micromolars or less. So our bodies are used to having H2 in them at any given time. This is because we actually produce H2 in our gut. Humans can produce up to 10 liters of hydrogen gas per day with a good diet containing fruits and vegetables and fiber-rich foods. If you want to know more about this, we did a whole video on this very subject. This proves that H2 is not something foreign to our bodies. To quote this study, hydrogen has not been reported to be toxic at effective doses, and overdoses are unlikely as excess hydrogen is expired via the lungs. Number three, we also know H2 is safe because of experience. H2 has been used in deep sea diving since 1945. It has been used by our U.S. military since the 60s for deep sea diving, and it's been shown to ameliorate decompression sickness in that setting. The H2 concentration has even been as high as 98% with no cytotoxic effects. So this shows that even at extremely high concentrations, it's safe. Like this source says, H2 has no cytotoxicity even at high concentration. Now, even though we have over 1,000 publications on molecular hydrogen, and even though it seems like a lot, technically, hydrogen research is still in its infancy. We need to know a whole lot more. We need more clinical studies to really know how safe hydrogen is in all categories. But is safe to say the odds are in hydrogen's favor. So let's wrap it up with this quote. H2 can be administered as a gas, in saline implants or infusions, as topical solutions or baths, or by drinking H2 enriched water. This latter method is the easiest and least costly method of administration. There are no safety issues with hydrogen. It has been used for years in gas mixtures for deep diving and numerous clinical trials without adverse events, and there are no warnings in literature of its toxicity for long-term exposure effects. So overall, incorporating hydrogen for the benefit of your health is a pretty safe bet. You know what else is safe? Subscribing to this channel. If not, you might be in danger of getting false hydrogen information. H2 Minutes always works hard to make sure our information is accurate and backed by reliable sources. So go ahead and subscribe and share away. You know you want to. And that's your safe dose of H2 in 2 minutes.